enough for me to really want to walk up and take a really close look at. The colors used were earth tones, greens and earth red and burnt umber. I approached the murals and had a chance to sketch a few of them though, and that's when I was pulled into them. The line drawings were so beautiful and so sensitive, just flowed without even having tonal differences or colors. The flow of just the line alone was interesting. I was happy copying them for a good 20 minutes and probably could have stayed for a couple more hours.
These are the Apsaras, the flying angels that we've seen so much of in town and the artwork that we've seen around Dunhuang and in this area. And we're actually finally being able to see them on some of the walls.
The second cave that we came to today was cave number 61, and I had a particular interest in this cave because in the back of the cave was actually a very large map. The significance of that map is that at the time in the 10th century when this was created, portions of this map showed everything from people in everyday parts of their life to locations of hotels and different cities along the way and mountain peaks. There was actually an archaeologist that came through to kind of look at the map and verify all these things, and today it's actually a very accurate map.
The most shocking thing about walking into this cave was the altar was bare. There were no statues at all left. Supposedly there was a Buddha sitting on a lion in the center. Apparently they were taken by Muslims.
One of the paintings on the wall that I saw that really kind of touched me, and I actually did a sketch of it, was a Uyghur princess, and they had a whole line of these princesses along the walls. The Tsao family commissioned this cave. They're Han people, and these Uyghur princesses were actually married to different members of this family. And the Uyghurs actually had their own kingdoms, so it was kind of a meshing of the Han people and the Uyghur people at the time. The third cave we came to was actually a very small cave, and we weren't able to enter this cave. It's a 5th century cave and is actually the oldest cave that we were able to see. We weren't able to enter it because there was a woman inside doing restoration. She was actually measuring how many inches tall they were and then coming back to graph paper and doing a drawing of them.
The next cave we visited was cave 158. This was built during the 8th century, which was during the Tang Dynasty.
As you walk in, you see this tremendous statue of a reclining Buddha. This particular cave actually is known for its murals and paintings as being the best paintings in Mogao. The reclining Buddha is actually a symbol of Buddha's death.
There was 2 levels of mourners.
The first row of figures above the reclining Buddha were the Arhat. They were the ones that were so sad about his dying because they hadn't achieved enlightenment yet. The second row was the Bodhisattva. They were smiling because they understood what this meant, that Buddha had died and he was going to be going to his nirvana.
I think one of the reasons why people at the time considered the paintings on the wall to be so skillfully rendered is because they seemed to be the first images of figures that had emotion. All their faces were just so exaggerated in the way that they were showing their grief. I was really excited to see the reclining Buddha because Mrs. He, the paper cut artist, based one of her pieces on that particular cave. So it was really wonderful to see the inspiration for the piece that she made. The next cave that we ventured to, and I say venture because we ended up climbing like crazy amount of flights of stairs. Uh-oh. What happened? So cool. It was 196 and it was built during the 9th century.
There was actually a building built around the entrance, and the wood that is there right now is the original wood from the 9th century.
The most interesting thing to me about this cave was the graffiti. And we're not talking graffiti like as in tags, the modern day graffiti. This graffiti is hundreds of years old, and it marks just the time that exists between when it was made and today. There was a bit of restoration going on in the cave at the time, and I keep saying restoration, but what I mean to say is copying. There was an artist who was literally like measuring the exact differences between one space to another and attempting to copy every figure on the wall.
I was able to do a sketch in this cave of this statue called the Heavenly King, and he was a warrior and a guard of Buddha,
whose job was to put down demons. I wanted to sketch him because he had such an animated face, and it was very, very strange sculpture to me. It looked almost out of place at the Mogao Caves. The next cave that we entered was cave 146, built during the 10th century.
In entering this cave, there's this giant mural on the wall. There are statues in the front, but the mural is very interesting in the back.
On this left-hand side it shows Buddha, and he's warring with Satan, who's on the other side of the mural on the right-hand side of the cave. On this side of the mural on the back of the cave, it portrays Satan and different devils that Buddha is actually battling with.
What really interested me about this cave was the folk art. Considering the fact that folk art at the time was, and even still today actually, was considered less skilled work, I thought it was really amazing to see the differences in each of the sculptures with the different skin color and facial expressions and costumes.
One other interesting thing that I saw when we entered this cave was something that I hadn't seen in any of the other caves, and it was a black tablet that had a great deal of writing on it. The writing was an explanation about Mogao and how the Mogao caves got their name. The explanation on this tablet is the word Mo means sand and Gao means high.
The last cave we got to see today was cave 85, and it was built in the 9th century. There's restoration going on in it right now.
The Getty Museum is in cooperation with the Dune Art Academy in this restoration.
The people who are right now attempting to restore it, they're making this somewhat of a model for future restoration of cave art.
It was really great to actually go into this cave and see what they were doing, because there was scaffolding up and the walls weren't protected by glass, so you could actually get out close and really see what was going on in the artwork.
When you look at the faces and the headdresses and the clothing and the scarves, there's such an incredible attention to detail in all of these murals. It's pretty amazing.
I was able to just see how talented these artists were in being able to draw these lines and these figures.
In the faces you can see it's just each line of the eye or the fingers, just one line. So they knew exactly where that line was going. And then to be able to see some of the brushstrokes and the color and how they actually, contoured the images with the colors. It's pretty amazing to see.
It was very exciting to see the delicate line drawings underneath the painting. And I can't seem to express that enough. But I forgot how beautiful line can be until I got to China.
This afternoon, we were invited to visit the Dunhuang Academy, which is doing restoration and research on the Mogao caves. When we first went in, there were 4 different artists working on these really, really large pieces. These gigantic pieces of rice paper that they were working on had such amazing detail in the line and very specific to the murals on the cave.
They're very careful to use the same pigments and materials that the monks used in the caves. I asked Mr. Ho, the director of art and research here at the Dunhuang Academy, why they go to all this trouble. It takes up to 2 years to reproduce one of these murals. It just seemed so simple once he said it, to learn the way that they painted then, to learn about their materials, to learn about the styles that they used and the techniques that they used, so that they could better understand the people at that time.
Today, it was actually such a great day because I was able to really spend the time and look at the artwork in the caves and really appreciate, what the artists were doing.
Tomorrow's our last day, and I can't believe it went by so fast. But yet I feel like I've been transported into a whole different world. And I have history here now, which is really bizarre. The thing that I'm going to remember the most about the Silk Road is the diversity of culture that came here and the things that came out of that diversity.
Seeing the Mogao grottos has inspired me to actually learn more about the artwork here and the artwork in the surrounding countries because they all seem to have a story to tell.
Coming to Dunhuang has really reminded me about magic and faith and things that I gave up a long time ago.
I think the best part of painting in Dunhuang for me was that it actually brought me out of my element.
I don't really know how it's going to affect my work, but I know that it has changed the way that I take in information. I'm definitely a lot more open to ideas that are outside of myself. I've been back from China for about 3 weeks now, and I already started painting. It's been a bit difficult because the amount of imagery that is in my head is out of control. I'm attempting now to make different types of marks, and they seem to be more about patina, like I'm trying to make age. It's very interesting to me because I don't try to do anything with my brushstroke except get a concept out of my head, but now all of a sudden it's about texture and it's about the surface, and it's definitely changing my style of painting.
I'm back from China, and I'm here in Malibu, California, and I'm beginning a series of paintings relating to my travels in China and the Silk Road. I'm touching sort of different areas with my different paintings because I wanted to maybe pick up a little bit of the style and the influence from China and learning some of the Chinese ink painting that I did there, and maybe try to incorporate that into some of my paintings now.
Mogao caves have really reminded me how much I love the idea of flying. Serenity, images that make you feel serene or give you that concept, or even just make you think about it for 1 second. I've been attempting to make things more grotesque in the most recent past, and I forgot how beautiful just serenity is. So I referenced this postcard to make this painting, and again, this is attempting to make it relevant to today by using images from people that I know.
The most challenging part of painting in Dunhuang was some of the time constraints that we had, because there's literally so much to see here that we only had such a limited amount of time in each area before we had to move on to something else. This painting is very representative of how I viewed the sand dunes and the light and the harsh shadows that they really create, and I wanted to portray that in my first painting.
The pieces that I'm considering and attempting to work out right now in my head and sketching are fluid matter or images or figurative images going from one place to another. All I want to portray is transcendence, and I'm just using the elements of these images, like the aging and the imagery of the figures and everything, to portray the idea of transcendence. But I have a feeling that it's going to be more in the way that I paint, in the way, the translucent. I don't even know. I have no idea how I'm going to do it. But I hope that at the end, I'll be able to allow like a space for a person to experience some type of transcendence or the idea of it.
This painting is similar to my Smoke and Fire series of paintings, and when I started this painting, we had gone to a show of the dancing murals, and which had initially inspired me to do this.
These pieces ended up being very personal to me because the images that appeared in the different figures, they pretty much became my sisters.
I started out as just a landscape and I wasn't sure where I was going with it. I wanted to add in some of the blue skies that we had seen there. There was a caravan of camels from an early morning shot. I wanted to introduce those into the painting and actually, just kind of fog over a lot of the detail that I had originally done in that painting.
I feel that this painting was successful in that it brought the two worlds together. What I was attempting to do was taking old ideas and putting them with my own personal ideas, and that being, of course, the people that I love and the people that I misunderstand, or just the people that I consider on a daily basis, ended up being in these paintings.
A lot of my inspiration came from the landscapes and the sand dunes and the people that were there that we were interacting with, and this just happened to be one of the gentlemen that we were interacting with and watching while we were there filming.
This painting is interesting to me because it began as one thing and turned into something completely different. It probably has the most to do with my previous work, the work that I'm doing with chicken skin. I felt like I was painting chicken skin when I was painting this at points. It allowed me to move the most emotionally and mentally, like through a whole different roller coaster than the other paintings. I didn't change this that much because I felt how it existed already was important enough.
I was very proud of him. I've always been very proud of him. He's done some wonderful works, and I think his paintings are incredibly beautiful, and I think that he has a future.
The thing I think has been great about this experience now is that I've been able to kind of bring back up and recall a lot of the feelings that I had while I was there, and really, and remember them again. And just relive some of the stuff that I did while I was there in China. And being able to actually talk about some of the work that I was doing here and the paintings that I was able to complete based on the China trip, and actually sharing those with people is really nice, because getting people to ask questions about what you've been working on is special and important, in being able to relay that to other people, what's been inside you and what you've been putting out on the canvas.
I've been watching her paint probably for the last 25 years, and every time I see something I'm still amazed at how beautiful it is. Each year she's grown more and more, and each year I'm just amazed at what she develops. This last year, coming from China, just walking in here, I can't even begin to tell you the brilliance, the excitement, everything I saw that she has portrayed from her experience.
I've been thinking about these paintings for so long and thinking about the trip to China, but it's been a little surreal until now. Just seeing the clips of the video and seeing, all these paintings in this atmosphere, it's really allowed me to really truly understand what I actually did and
what happened and going to China and everything and having all these people become a part of this experience now, it's made it real for me.
It's really hard to pinpoint what the best part of my trip was, but I think I'd have to say it was meeting all of the wonderful people here and making all these new friends.
I would have to say the best part of this trip, though, has been meeting all these incredible, unique people. I've never seen people embrace their history as well and as successfully as people here in Dunhuang, and to make it their own and relevant to today.